Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Suryakoti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kuru Me Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada Saraswati Namastubhyam Varade Kamarupini Vidyarambham Karishyami Siddhir Bhavatu Me Sada Gurur Brahma Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha Gurudeva Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. What is one of the most common messages that you hear while studying Vedanta? If we can make the top 10 messages of Vedanta, what would be on that list? Look inward. Happiness. Satchitananda. Okay, all good. I think the most common messages about happiness, but you have to specify that you are happiness. There's a lot of subjects that focus on happiness, but they share that happiness is yelling bingo. Or that if you eat this McHappy meal, right? Those are about happiness, but it's about consuming something, about owning something. For the next few minutes, I would like to prove that you are happiness. And I think this is one of the most important, powerful, simple ways to prove that we are happiness. So I'll start 5 proofs. I'll start with 5 and move inwards to 1. Okay? But I'll only share this if you believe me. I'll only share this if you start to feel that you are happiness. Anyone not interested? Okay, number 5. Quality of objects. Quality of objects. This is like the sutra. This is a zip file. I'll elaborate. No article, no being, no circumstance is of the quality of happiness. If this watch was of the quality of happiness, everyone who had the watch should be happy. If my son were of the quality of happiness, my son should bring everyone happiness. He does not bring everyone happiness. And I'll simplify it to an example we can all understand about food, right? That's what we're really waiting for, is food examples. How many of you enjoy eating bhindi? Ladyfingers, okra. How many of you do not? You know why they have so many names? To, disguise what bhindi is. So you think, oh, I'm eating something different. It's bhindi. If bhindi were of the nature of happiness, everyone should be happy here when bhindi is cooked, correct? But that's not the case. Bindi brings unhappiness to people. So, quality of objects, there's an X there. Happiness is not in the quality of objects. Number 4, quantity of objects. Quantity. If there was an article, being, or circumstance that was of the nature of happiness, the more you have of that, the happier you should be. Correct? Like square footage in a home. If square footage was the source of happiness, the more square footage you have, the happier you should be. But people who have large homes, you have to clean them more. You have to secure them more. Correct? As an example. And coming back to food. So today, while you were all engaged in deep seva, I was eating an apple crumble with vanilla ice cream, thinking of you. And the ice cream was delicious. It was Breyer's French vanilla ice cream. And then we had a wonderful conversation of how the best ice cream is actually from a company called Jenny's in Columbus. Very gourmet ice creams, like paneer flavored. And it sounds weird. I can see your weird faces right now. But it's so refined and it tastes good. They have an olive flavored ice cream. The second best ice cream comes from Cleveland by a company called Mitchell's. Mitchell's ice cream. Anyways, so we're talking about Relevance of Ramayana. If I had 1 scoop of ice cream today and it made me 1 unit happy, then I should naturally eat 2 scoops. I would have 2 units of happiness, correct? So I did. I was experimenting with what I'm going to speak about. So I'm a very logical person, so naturally, if 2 scoops leads to 2 units, I should have 20 scoops of ice cream, correct? And 200, you're all saying yes. No! 200 scoops of ice cream. I would have to go to the hospital. They'd have to pump out my stomach, correct? So quantity of objects is also a X. So happiness is not in the quality of objects, is not in the quantity of objects. So now the transition proof. Absence of objects. Absence of objects. What time did you sleep last night? 11. Anyone else? Everyone slept at 11 o'clock. Right, 11 o'clock. Everyone's sleeping. You're supposed to be honest here. Anyone else? 10:45. 11:15. And here's where I say they're all lying. Because if you know what time it is, you're not sleeping. True? If you know what time it is, you're not sleeping. And when you are sleeping, forget about time. You don't know if you have a body or not. You don't know what gender you are, where you are, if you believe in God or not. In sleep, there's nothingness, but you enjoy sleeping, isn't it? That's why some of you are on your way to doing that now. And our enemy is an alarm clock. But remember, you're still there in sleep. There may be nothingness when it comes to objects, but you can't say you're not there. So happiness is being experienced, and it's not in the object, so maybe it's in the subject. Maybe. Absence of objects. You all caught that point? Number 2. Escaping the unnatural. Escaping the unnatural. When you're feeling angry, frustrated, jealous, what do you do when you feel these emotions, these thoughts? What do? We don't feel jealous. We're Enlightened. We play soccer today, remember? What do you feel? What do? You express that towards people. You do whatever you can to get rid of it. You go to jail, okay? I think that we take hot showers or cold showers, or we go for runs and we breathe in deeply and we go shopping and so on, or we eat. See, if anger and frustration and jealousy were your nature, why would you try to escape from it? If that were your nature, it should make you stronger. But jealousy doesn't make you feel better. Stress doesn't make you write exams better, correct? We try to escape from it because it's unnatural. In a very physical sense, if you get a piece of wood in your wrist, if you're relatively healthy, your body will automatically reject that. You don't need a needle to take it out. It'll just come out in time. Because it's an alien in the ecosystem. Yeah? And number one, this is the most profound, most practical, embracing the natural. Embracing the natural. When you're calm and peaceful and happy, what do you do in that experience, in that moment? When you're seeing relish it. When you're seeing a beautiful sunset. When you see a tree that's shining with red, what do? You enjoy it. You just be. In fact, you actually close your eyes eventually. Even though it's outside that you're seeing it, you close your eyes, right? Because it shows that your nature is peace and calmness and joy. We embrace these virtues. Calmness helps us write better. Peace helps us drive better. This is who we are. I've had these wrist bones there for decades, and my body's not rejecting my wrist bones because it's part of the ecosystem. That piece of wood is not part of the ecosystem. Looking at me, not your notes. What was number 5? Quality of objects. What will you remember? Bindi. 4? What will you remember? Number 3? What will you remember? 2? What will you remember? All of that, in a physical sense, that piece of wood in your body. And number 1? And you'll remember all those virtues, your own bones that are there, are fine inside of you. You are happiness. And it's too bad that we have to relearn this. We have unlearned that we are happiness. Unlearned it, so I think articles, beings, circumstances are happiness. I'm unhappy. If I have these, I will be happy. And sadly, I have to relearn this now. Like someone who goes through a physical accident, they may have to relearn how to walk, let's say, or use their hands in a certain way, or even language. It's sad, it's hard. We have to do the same, but understand we are alive only for this purpose. To relearn that we are happiness. And we are most fortunate that we have Bhagavan Rama and Ramayana to show us how to relearn that we are happiness. Everything we're studying is not about the experience, it's about the vision. But we're so conditioned that this vision is even too much for us. So we are also invoking a mission, an action. What I can do right now to bring in that virtue, to be supportive, to be independent, to be caring. And when I have that virtue, the vision will become real. Otherwise, this is just words. These are just theories. Relearning is hard, yet this is possible. And one more way that we're most fortunate. I feel that tipping point is around the age of 40. For those who are above 40, it becomes another level of difficulty when it comes to unlearning and relearning. And if you're under 40, we're still in that. It's hard, but it's not as difficult. And the younger one is, the more natural this is, because one may not even have to relearn. They may just be learning. With our son Vyasa, my mind is blown at how easy it is for him to learn words. He doesn't know how to read, but he just listens. He unitasks any infant, and they pick up those words. So we're teaching him to brush his teeth, and he was in the bathroom watching me brush my teeth, and then I was washing my face, and I was just making weird noises. I was going, "Arr!" like this. And then he was just watching, and then when I put my towel down, he took his hands and started going, "Arr!" And it's because he's really unitasking, as I mentioned. And to him, that's like something he learned. That's not important learning. So we're fortunate. And we do have to relearn, but it could be much harder. Okay. When we think of an investment, when you think of an investment, do you want returns to be in the short term or the long term? Long term, right? If I reworded it, do you want to be happy in the short term or the long term? Right? And if we keep on focusing on techniques that deal with reactions, count to 10, or write something down. These techniques, it's investing in reactions, but the return is very little. But if we invest in a vision, which is long-term, which is comprehensive, that's the way to be happy in a lasting way. So you see, Bhagavan Rama is not giving any techniques. That's what we want, isn't it? A 10-minute YouTube video, a 5-minute app on how to calm my mind. And if it took you 5 minutes, it's only going to last 5 minutes, isn't it? Vision. Visionaries. In the 5th experience of Bhagavan Rama, he's seeing that these mountains face this lashing rain. But his vision is that those who are noble, they endure harshness. The harshness of others. A way for us to make this more real. Do you all know what hangry is? Are you angry right now? We're just angry. We don't need hunger to be angry. When you're hangry and you say something to your sibling, to your friend, as soon as you get some food, you may say that I didn't mean it. And really you didn't mean it, correct? There is a breakup in that radio wave and you happen to express it, isn't it? Or if someone said that to you, if someone's having a really bad day and they said something critical about you, you go in with that filter that they don't mean it. They're just having a really bad day. At least that's a filter we should have, correct? That's how we become more noble, more enduring, is to understand people. Often mean people don't mean it. we label them as mean people when they are just facing some challenges. It's okay. The mission for the fifth vision is be what? Just pick something positive. You're bound to be bound to be right. It is be enduring, to be enduring. And our action for this mission is chant steadily. As someone's expressing their harshness, you chant Om Namo Narayanaya, and that harshness will turn into happiness. That was a good word play. It's like Meera Devi, when they gave her a basket of serpents. When she opened that basket, what was it? Flowers. She was physically able to convert poison into fragrance. Chant steadily. Where was she? Where was her mind? Bhagavan Krishna, Eva. Only. The sixth experience is where Bhagavan Rama is showing Sri Lakshmana that look at these streams and how they swell during the rainy season, during the monsoon. And with his vision, he's understanding that the esteem of those who are fickle, it keeps going up and down. Yes. They get a little bit, they're so proud, they lose a little bit, they're devastated. So their esteem is like that. And someone had asked a question, how do we raise our self-esteem? Find a project in your life to lift you up. I know too many young people who are neither in school nor working. And their minds start to deteriorate. They play so many mind games with themselves, yes? Sometimes we're like that, or you know someone like that. And the way to shake them out of this is give them something to do. Build this fence. Vacuum this ashram, whatever it is, for us to find a project. Today, someone said our mission is togetherness. Be together, isn't it? That game was like our project. And in the text, Swami Tejamananda writes that the highest type of people discuss nobility. They discuss noble thoughts like scriptures. Average people discuss events like football games and meals and so on. Average people. And the mediocre people discuss people, but never positively. It's always rumors and gossip. So you see, if we want to be extraordinary, we need those types of thoughts. We need a project to help inspire those thoughts. You know who's learned the most in this retreat? Who's learned the most? Please don't say yourself, I've learned the most. I think the organizers have learned the most. They've had to work in so many ways, whether it's logistics or finances, the text itself to come up with discussion questions, correct? That project helped them to invoke this experience more. They don't look very happy. They don't look very good. But undoubtedly, this project has lifted them up. Fair? So here, our mission is be inclusive. If someone is having self-esteem problems, isolating them doesn't help. Be inclusive. And our action is, don't say it too loudly or confidently. It is, smile intelligently. Smile not at them, but don't smile with them either. If you smile with them, you're only encouraging them. be careful about your smile. You know, they already have that self-esteem, so just give them a half weird smile. Practical, no? The seventh experience, and this was the last one we studied, which is the deepest I had mentioned so far. Bhagavan Rama's experience is that the rain, which is pure, when it hits the earth, it becomes mixed with mud. And it's as if it becomes dirty, as if. And his vision is that when individuals are expressed from the infinite expresses as individuals, the word jiva is used, we get lost in Maya. We think we're actually separate from the infinite, and we get lost in the relative. We get lost in the relative. Have you ever had a lucid dream before? Lucid dream, anyone? Okay. When I was living in the ashram, by accident, and I'm sharing by accident because I don't want you to think that they teach us how to lucid dream in the ashram. By accident, for many months, I would experience lucid dreaming in the morning. And it was so powerful to know that you're dreaming, then you can do whatever you want in that dream, right? It's very much like Inception. You can build whatever you want, break whatever you want. I would fly around everywhere. I was in the ashram. I was sane and happy and healthy, eating dal and rice and so on. There's a lot of new people. They may be thinking, whoa, I want to go to that ashram also. And what was even more powerful than the lucid dreaming is when you wake up from that lucid dream, you can't definitively prove that you're not still dreaming. And I would put that out to you right now too. How do you know for sure that you're not just dreaming this experience up? When you're in a dream, you don't believe there's any other state than a dream, correct? That is absolute to you. When you're sleeping, that's the same case. Yet we know that a dream and sleep is not absolute, but in the moment we feel that. So are we such an authority to claim that this is absolute, this is relative? This is relative. It goes away every day for, let's say, 8 hours. Your name, your form, you don't even know you have a name and form for a third of your life. How can you say that you're this particular name and form? We get lost in the relative. So, our mission based on this vision is be reflective. Don't let a single experience pass without learning from that experience. And your action for this mission is unitask practically. When you unitask, it's almost like you pierce through the relative. Swami Chinmayananda shares, when one loses themselves in the moment, they find themselves in infinity. Infinity is right now. And if you can unitask to get to the right now, you tune into that infinity. Unitask practically. And if you want to see this come to life even more, be around infants. It is remarkable to see how they unitask. And it's remarkable to see how other people who are distracted come and try to distract them. You know, they lift them up, they play with them when they're totally happy doing what they're doing. Totally happy. For a good 2 hours, I clean the kitchen and have my coffee in the morning, and Vyasa just looks at the same photograph book. And isn't it boring? But he's so immersed in that experience, there's nothing that could take him away from that. Imagine we were like that. Imagine you treated school like that. you would never have to study. You would be that subject. You would be American history. Number 8. There's a lot of water examples coming up now, so keep track of all of this. The 8th experience. Samiti samiti jala bharahi talava jimi sada guna sajjana pahi ava. This first line says, samiti, samiti, from all different directions there is jala. Jala is water. Bharahi talava, and all of this water is accumulating in a pond, in a lake. So, this is really surface water that is gathering into pools. That's the experience, okay? And we see this in parks all the time, right? There's water that's over there, but it's pooling up into lower ground. What is the vision, though? Jimi sadaguna sajjana pahi ava. In the same way, virtues accumulate or gather or are drawn, virtues is sadaguna, to those who are sajjana. To those who are noble, these virtues come naturally. They grow in those who are noble. Put more simply, water is being compared to virtues. Water is being compared to virtues, okay? That's what you should remember. Think about the people whom you feel are most virtuous, are most noble. And now, what are some common qualities about those who are sajjana, those who are noble? What would connect all of them? Tell me. They're selfless. That's accurate. What else? Calm. Interested, focused, loving. All good. I haven't found what I'm trying to look for right now, so keep going. Pure, humble. Good, we're getting closer. Getting closer. It's like hot and cold. Hot. Nobody plays hot and cold anymore. We should play that game more often. Cold, but good, but they are tireless. Our mission is to be tireless. Those who are noble don't use the word or the phrase, I'm tired, and also I'm bored, and also I'm busy. They don't use that phrase, I'm busy, which then means they also don't use what word? But. People who are busy say, but. But if someone is tireless, they're not busy. They are engaged. They're there. They're productive. So our mission is to be tireless. When we are one of the hardest working people we know, isn't it true that all virtues will come to us? For someone who's hardworking, tell me some of the virtues that come to them like water gathering into a pool. What kind of virtues? Patience, motivation, humility, organization, health, energy, attraction. We're always attracted to people who are hardworking because we want them to work for us, correct? Isn't it true that the one who's tireless, all of that comes to them? In Vivek Acharya Shankara says, imagine there's a well, and on the top of this well, there's a layer of moss. How do you get that moss off that well? And so he says, you should move the moss. You know, you push it with your hands. But as soon as you move your hands, what happens? it comes back. It's like on tea, right? You know, that film on the tea, you kind of move it, but then it just, it comes back. So then Acharya Shankara continues, how do you get rid of that moss? Break the well. Burn it down. He says you should put a hose in there and just keep filling it. And what water is going to go first? Or what's going to go first? All of that moss, isn't it? See, we don't work outdoors anymore. Sprinkler systems. What moss? Is that a new type of purse that I can buy? So here too, when we are hardworking, the negativities about us will be purged. That's what we want, isn't it? Be tireless. And what do you think our action is going to be? What do you think our action is going to be? We talked a lot about this in the Samvada. Sleep less, yes. Awake early. Awake early. And really, if you awake early, you will need to sleep less. Awake early. Awake is a verb. Yeah? Okay. Whatever the verb is, just awaked. Awaking, whatever it is. Awake early. I found in my life, days that I get up at, say, 3:30, and I start working at 4, dealing with administration, emails, planning. The amount of work I can do between 4 a.m. and 8 a.m. is the same amount of work I do between 8 a.m. and 4 p.m. So those days, I actually have 2 days that magically were contained in 1 day. It's like getting 2 fortunes in that fortune cookie, right? You're twice as blessed, right? So all of us, we have access to 2 days as if masked by 1 day, but it requires you to awake early, which means you need to sleep early. When Vyasa was very young, he'd wake up a lot because his stomach was so small, so he'd have to feed a lot. And Sheila and I would do it together. And when he would wake up, say the second time at, say 3 o'clock or so, I would just stay awake and just work. And it was such a lovely period of my life because I would naturally wake up and because I was with him and Sheila, there was no, okay, I'm going to go back to sleep. Like it was something that was active, and when you're that active, you just stay awake then. And what's there to do in the morning? You don't feel like watching YouTube videos or Netflix, I hope. So you just begin. You're reading, writing, reflecting. So here we'll pause. Looking at me. Looking at your notes. I have some faith in you, but not so much faith. Our first mission is to be supportive. When I say mission, this is just me using a cool word. It really is just virtue development, okay? What virtue? Be supportive. For that mission to become reality, it has to be expressed, and that is our action statement. This action statement is just sadhana. It's a practice. What is our action? Speak positively. First experience. Second mission, be caring. Action, listen attentively, like right now. Third mission, be independent. Action, observe lightly. If you observe, you don't get influenced. Fourth mission, be grateful. There's a lot we have to be grateful for, no? Like dinner. What meal do you get? Chana bhatura, North Indian food. Vada, South Indian food. And pasta, European food. In the same sitting, right? So lots to be grateful for. That was number 4. And our action is? Accept cheerfully. Accept. If you get 2 slices of that mango dessert, accept cheerfully. Then we shifted to the fifth experience, which we just did a review of. The mission is to be enduring. Someone who's enduring is also endearing, isn't it? They're just so large-hearted. They're so tough. We had an auntie and uncle discussion today. Sometimes I include myself in the auntie and uncle discussion. And we were sharing how the difference we've seen in people who grew up in Bharat and people who grew up in North America is less titiksha in people who are growing up here. Less stamina. Everything is too cold. Everything is too hot. We need more water breaks. Sound like you? So someone then said in a very direct way, more whining. But we should be like a mountain. Be enduring. Stamina. So important. If I don't have physical stamina, I will never have mental stamina. And our action, our fifth action statement is chant steadily. Sixth mission, be inclusive. Very important. You can notice while our games were happening, we never had team captains. Because someone's going to get picked in the last period, correct? It's a very direct form of exclusivity. You're my friend or you're better, which makes winning and coolness so important and not fun and friendship. And our action for be inclusive? Smile intelligently. Show me. Those are full smiles. I want that half, like I don't really know how to smile. Show me again. Some of you are naturally like that. Our seventh mission is be reflective. And our action is unitask practically. And our eighth mission, be tireless. And the action, awake early. Number 9. I was sharing there's lots of water examples. Sarita jala nidhi mahu jai hoy achala jimi jiva hari pai. Sarita, anyone know what that means in English? River. Jala nidhi, when the water of a river goes into a jala nidhi, which is another word for ocean, what happens is that river becomes like mauna. A river tends to be noisy, right? If you sit beside a river, it's noisy, like the Niagara River. But once it goes into an ocean, that same noisiness becomes quiet. That's the experience, but what Bhagavan Rama's actually feeling, his vision is, Hoy achala. Achala means unmoving. Jimmy jiva, like a jiva, like an ego. Hari pai, when that ego merges or that ego finds Hari. When that ego finds God or the totality. Okay? Making this simpler, just connecting two words. A river here is the experience, the vision is ego. The river and the ego are being put together here. Okay. When are you the best students? Sacred students, not secular students. When are you the best sacred student? When are you the best disciple? When? When you practice with understanding, good. You're prepared. You make this real. When you're most attentive. Right now you are. Every virtue that is needed to study Vedanta you have right now. Viveka, or prioritization, you have. Vairagya, independence from gadgets, from socializing, that you have also. The inner wealth, such as having a cool mind, collected senses, you have that right now. You can't eat anything. You can't get angry at me yet. Mumukshutvam, why would you be here if you didn't want to be happier? We are the best students in satsang, in this environment of nobility. This river that meets the ocean and becomes quiet, becomes still, we have to be in satsang all the time. So what is satsang? Is this satsang? Driving your car home tomorrow, is that satsang? It's up to you, isn't it? Sangha means association. Sat means nobility or truth. As long as you're associated, as long as you're remembering nobility and truth, that is satsang. You can have satsang at a football game. You can have satsang in the bathroom. You can have satsang watching a movie. You can be in satsang and not be in satsang also, because it's up to you. And a focus of satsang, and here's our mission, be studious. Be studious. And I think this will come out more clearly if I give you an example. What is the Tirupati of North America? What is the real Tirupati of Niagara Falls? Oh, I said that. Of North America's Niagara Falls. You know, people go to Tirupati multiple times in their lifetime. Every time you have a relative, do you go to Pittsburgh or do you come to Niagara Falls, correct? You bring everyone to Niagara Falls, and if they have visas, they even get to come to Canada. So imagine you decide to come to Niagara Falls from the London side, which you would do anyways, but instead of, let's say, the Cleveland Buffalo side. And now you're in Niagara Falls, but you don't know that you're in Niagara Falls. So while you're there, what do? You go to Subway, you use the restroom, maybe you eat something, and then you keep driving. And you totally missed out on Tirupati / a natural wonder of the world, isn't it? How angry you would be at yourself for missing that experience. See how you have to know you're in Niagara Falls to benefit from Niagara Falls. And if you don't know, you can't benefit. We all know that our nature is happiness, but we sort of don't know also. We know we are Brahman because there's words that say Aham Brahmasmi, but we don't know the details of that. And that's what I was talking about today. Those details make that knowledge more real, the benefit becomes more real. I recently made Sheila macaroni and cheese. And I literally looked at the box, 6 cups of water, boil, 3 tablespoons of milk, mix that in there, and so on and so forth. And it was okay. And I was envisioning as I was cooking this that if Sheila made macaroni and cheese, there'd be so many spices in it and vegetables in it and so on and so forth. And it's those details that make that dish good, isn't it? Not just salt, not just black pepper. Even with Frank's Red Hot, right? There's a particular hot sauce for a particular food. There's Bollywood Frank's Red Hot, there's spicy Red Hot, and so on. We focus on such details when it comes to our schooling, like medicine as an example. You can have a specialty within a specialty within a specialty. Engineering would be the same way. Law is definitely the same way. Accounting is the same way. Then why is it that we're so general when it comes to studying sacred subjects in the scriptures? I know Bhagavad Gita, Ramayana, Bhagavan Rama, Mother Sita, she went away, she came back. There's 1,100 pages that happened. There's 1,100 verses. And it really shows what we care about and what we don't care about. And here's where I'm trying to encourage you to care about happiness more. Be studious. We should be able to sit down and read and write and reflect. I want to say hours with the plural, and I'll just be gentle and say for an hour. That level of studiousness. Here is our action to make this mission real. Read quietly. Read quietly. Tell me, when you read for your academic subjects, what else are you doing? Listening to music, and there's different types of music, yes? Listening to Zakir Hussain versus listening to Drake is very different. Okay, so we're listening to music and drinking coffee and texting and Netflix may be on also, right? When you want to care about a sacred subject, by reading quietly, as you're reading, you're also internalizing. Better students do Shravana and Manana at the same time. Less better students, they only do Shravana. So here you can literally be doing Shravana and Manana if you're being quiet and you're internalizing this. Read quietly. And now, what time will you read? Let's go back to the 8th action item. What was the 8th action statement? Awake earlier. There's your time to read now. It's all coming together. This brainwashing. Number 10. We may finish today with this. Let's see what Bhagavan Rama says. Harita bhumi trina sankula samuji parahi nahi pantha. Which means bhumi, the earth. During the monsoon season, the earth is filled with harita trina, lots and lots of grass, lots and lots of greenery. So the pantha, which is the path, a mud path, you can't see it. It's been covered. Yeah? Just like if there's a mud path and it rains a lot, you can't see that path anymore. Remind me later to show you photographs of our Chinmaya Inspiration Yatra 11 to Canada. I'll just tell you about it now. Why even hold it? How many of you have come on a yatra with me before? Okay. Too few of you have. We need to travel together also. There's many parts of my relationship with Chinmaya Mission that I am most happy about, proud about. Our yatras are one of them. The Chinmaya Inspiration Yatra 7, which was in 2016, 20 of us rented 3 RVs, 30-foot RVs, and we drove from Calgary to Jasper and back. It is the best part of Canada, maybe North America. I haven't explored all of America, the national parks particularly. And it was epic. We would sleep in the RVs, obviously. There'd be no electricity sometimes, no water sometimes. We saw a grizzly bear. It was a really epic experience, the most scenic of all yatras. So this year we went back. So this year there was a smaller group. There was 10 of us because Swami Mitrananda came with us also. So I treated it like his retreat. So more responsible people came who would be less talkative, etc. That's why none of you came. So in the first yatra to Canada, it snowed for 1 hour out of, let's say, 100. On this yatra, it snowed for 99 hours. There was only 1 hour of snow, of sun. Swamiji's never been to Canada, and he came to Canada. There was snowstorms every day, storms, and I'm not exaggerating. I know what snow is, and I know what a snowstorm is. snowstorms, we would go up and many kilometers, 8, 9 kilometers up. And when we would come back, we didn't know where to go because there would be so much snow everywhere, like the grass in the monsoon season. Fortunately, I made it out alive. I don't know, and Swamiji did too. Other yatris may still be there. So that's a comparison that Bhagavan Rama is seeing, he's experiencing, but now here's his vision. And I think a lot of us can relate to this one. Jimmy pakhanda badate gupta hoi sadagranta, which means sometimes when we study the scriptures, and I just talked about that, we get lost in the words of the scriptures. We get lost in the dilution of the scriptures. So just like a path goes away because of all of that grass, sometimes the meaning of a scripture is lost because of so many words, so much dilution. Here the two words for us to remember are, the earth is being compared to scriptures, okay? So let me open this up some. Paintings. What paintings are more valuable, copies or originals? Comic books? That which is original almost all of the time is worth more, correct? There's more authenticity, there's more purity. Here, Bhagavan Rama is trying to encourage us to be original. To be original. And being original here means study the path, do not study the person. Study the path, not the person. Puja Swami Chinmayananda most definitively said, I am the indicator and not the indicated. He was clear that people are not to make him the focus, but to make the path the focus, the path to peace, the path to yourself. There are some organizations, their student groups are not allowed to be at universities. I know specific organizations and specific universities because in those organizations, those teachers make themselves the focus and not the teachings. And so according to those universities, that is a cult. When that person becomes the focus and not the path, that is a cult. And there's some exposure. We may have some exposure to that. But what's happening in a most detrimental way is the dilution of our scriptures. What is the point of studying Ramayana? The only point of studying Ramayana? Tell me. To become Rama. There is no other point to studying Ramayana other than to become Rama. All other points, as long as they're taking me to become Bhagavan Rama, that's okay. But to think that these are the points, this is the ends and not the means, we've lost the way then. We've lost the path. And I'll give you a couple of examples of this. So I teach the Yoga Sutras. It's a lovely scripture. And one day I was Googling yoga. What was the most popular hit when I Googled yoga? Studios. Not ashrams, not schools, but studios. And the next most popular hit? Poses. Not even postures, but poses. When I think about poses in studios, I think of a photo studio, right? I put a cowboy hat on and Sheila has the gun and, we have this this couple picture. Now Vyasa, the little horse, is running around. But that was what was shown for yoga. So then I switched over to images. And what came up? Really healthy people in weird positions. Nobody looked like me. Nobody was wearing a dhoti. Nobody had a tilak on. Nobody was sitting with the Ramayana or the Yoga Sutras. And if it's on the internet, it's right, isn't it? So now when we think of yoga, all we think about is exercises. And even if you take the 8 facets of yoga, yama, niyama, asana, pranayama, let's just stop at asana. That's number 3 out of 8 rungs. Imagine you came into this ashram and I said, this is the only part of the ashram. There is nothing else. I'd be lying to you, isn't it? There's also that part and that part and that part and outside and other facets too, correct? There's so much more. Balance of breath, balance of mind, balance of intellect, samadhi. Be original. If you be original, we'll make it to the ends. But if we are not original, we'll get stuck, we'll get lost in the means. And so this is your last action for today. Walk freely. Walk freely. When was the last time you just went for a walk? With nobody else, nothing else on your mind, no headphones, no cell phone. Just walking. It's very rare for us to do that when we live in an amazing part of the country. Right now, outside is amazing. Summer is amazing also. Winter is also amazing. Winter is also amazing, okay? Walk freely. For those who have been on our yatras, I call this a freedom walk, where you walk with the only intention being freedom. Walk freely. So with this, we've now completed 10 experiences, 10 visions. That's what Bhagavan Rama gave us. We may not be oriented to such a high teaching, so we also have brought in 10 virtues, that's what I wanted to say. 10 virtues, this one being, be original. And to make these virtues real, now 10 verbs. Walk, chant, read, awake, etc. And I have worked relatively hard here to describe each verb ending in ly. Early, quietly, intelligently, and so on and so forth. Because if it's simple, you can remember. And if you remember, you can practice. And that was the first thought I offered during this retreat. What are you doing since the last retreat? And if you're practicing, the event has become a movement. And if you're not practicing, the event, what do average people talk about? Events. We went to an event. It started, it ended. We're at another event. It will start, it will end. Who's the greatest basketball player ever? The vote is on Tuesday, right? I was doing my research about what I wanted to share, and I was watching the old Michael Jordan Gatorade commercials. And there's a really lovely song that says, I wanna be like Mike. And now if you think of LeBron James studied, who is also, they could be equals. Statistically, they are equals. In feeling-wise, we're too close to Chicago right now for us to be objective about this. LeBron James has a great affinity, devotion almost, for Michael Jordan, and you see what he's been able to do in so many levels, through charity, through the game, through moving players around. I had shared that the only point of studying Ramayana is to be Bhagavan Rama. If we start to see what Bhagavan Rama sees, won't it be the same as sitting beside him? And if you're sitting beside Bhagavan Rama, don't you think he'd put his arm around you and say, come put your head over here? Or be like Hanumanji, put your head over here. If you can see what I see, that means you're giving the discourse right now in this example, right? Now we're trying to see what Bhagavan Rama sees. We are trying to sit beside him. We're trying to sit on him. We're trying to sit in him. Keep trying. Oh. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukinaha Sarve Santu Niramayaha Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschid Dukkha Bhag Bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shantihi. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.